Hey y'all, Elijah Henderson here. Real quick message and then we'll get into the video. What you're about to watch is a video that is very special to me, and I haven't been able to watch it in probably 20 years or close to. When I was a little boy, we went camping at a place called Montgomery Bell State Park, and the ranger invited everybody to come around for a park showing of a little documentary called The Legend of Werewolf Springs. And it's been almost lost to history. I've searched for it for years and years without any luck. Called the park, asked them, even offered to pay them for a copy or even a showing of this, and there was never any luck on my part. Recently, I looked up on YouTube, and a woman by the name of Carolyn Diamond uploaded it about 7 months ago, and I had no idea. And she has multiple episodes from this paranormal team on her channel, so I invite you to watch it. I'm putting exclusively the Werewolf Springs segment up on the channel so people of the Dogman and Bigfoot community can watch this. And please go back and check out her channel so you can see the other episodes. She's got 2 different videos that are like 1 hour and 24 minutes on one of them, and I think a long one on the other one. But please go and check out her stuff, and I'm putting her info right here in the bottom so I can credit her completely for uploading and finding this. I don't want to just upload it and run, so to speak, but I want all y'all to be able to see this documentary that helped shape my life. But yes, this is The Legend of Werewolf Springs. I'm so excited to finally have it in my possession again, and without any further hesitation, please enjoy this and please check out her channel.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nathan Swain of Dark Encounters Investigated. Not long after the D.E.I team was launched, we were flooded with telephone calls, letters, and emails concerning inexplicable events from all over the country. One of the most interesting stories came from Dickson County, Tennessee. On arriving here, the D.E.I team discovered that this particular story of the strange was very well known in this rural community. It is truly a tale of the dark side. A tale that rode into this area on a train during a cold winter's night, and some say has refused to leave.
Somewhere out there are worlds other than ours. Worlds of the paranormal and supernatural, where the laws of flesh and blood do not apply. There are times when the thin barrier separating that world from ours is shattered by events and entities too powerful to be contained. And when that happens, a team of paranormal investigators look for answers to those strange and mysterious dark encounters.
Montgomery Bell Park. It's a picturesque Tennessee state park on Highway 70 in Dickson County. Our story brings us to an area of the park that maps and signs refer to as Hall Springs. But local area residents know it by a much more haunting name, Werewolf Springs.
To understand this story, you've got to go back in time. You've got to go back to the Civil War. At that time, there was a railroad track that ran through Dickson County. It ran east and west, and of course there still is. It moved a lot of war material, moved it for the south, and it moved some for the north after they'd captured it. And after the war, the track was in pretty rough shape. They still continued to try to move trains down it, but it was not in the best of condition. The story goes in the late 1860s, a circus train came through here and it derailed. It derailed behind where the park is now. This train, of course, being a circus train, it contained a number of animals, and some of them escaped. All of them were recaptured but 2. And the circus manifest listed these 2 animals as the wild man of Borneo. Supposedly this was a wolf-type creature that walked upright. It had the cunning of a wolf. It had the strength of a man. The description sounded a whole lot like a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. Well, the train was put back on the track. The other animals had been recaptured. They made an effort to capture these things and they couldn't find them, and so the circus train departed. It was not long after that that things began to happen that had never happened before. Animals would turn up missing. Animals would turn up dead, half-eaten. This got people's attention.
As the story goes, the train left, but something remained behind. Soon after, farm animals began to disappear or were discovered half-eaten. Then, the legend of Werewolf Springs took a deadly turn.
Up until about 2 years after the derailment, there had never been an attack on a human being. But unfortunately, that changed. One of the local landowners was building a house, and he was building it in this direction about 10 miles. And he had ordered a set of doors, and they were delivered by rail to Burns Station, which is now Burns, Tennessee. And they picked up the doors late in the afternoon. This landowner and one of his hired hands came to get them in a mule pull wagon. And they were taking the doors back to the building site, and they were going down the old country road that has now become Highway 47. And as they traveled down the road, they became aware that something was behind them. It was pacing them. They were somewhat nervous about that. They whipped up the mules a little bit, went a little faster. This thing would speed up with them. And they went a little faster and a little faster, and pretty soon they're going about as fast as they can go. And this thing is still back there. And they heard its hand grab the back of the wagon, just slap the back of the wagon and start to get on. Well, they ran. The landowner went this way and the hired hand went this way. Well, it went after the hired hand. The landowner lived, and he later said that he heard his hired hand screaming, "No, no, please, no," and just a blood-curdling scream and nothing. Then he heard the thing coming toward him. He ran through the woods. He happened to find a log that he could get under, a hollowed place under it, and he hid under there, and this thing walked right past him, but apparently was not aware that he was there. And he was paralyzed by fright. He stayed there till morning. In fact, he stayed on into the morning, and he finally was able to get out and get back to town and tell this story, and it was met with some skepticism at first. Well, they went back out to try to find the wagon and the mules and the hired hand. They found the wagon in a ravine, but the strange thing was, between the road and the ravine, there were no drag marks. It appeared the thing physically picked the wagon up and threw it into the ravine. The mules were found rather unpleasantly dead and mutilated, and they never found the body of the hired hand. They found some blood, but that's all they ever found. Now people were more than concerned, people were scared.
Over the years, there's been a great deal of speculation as to what attacked a local man and his friend. A werewolf? Some bizarre combination of man and beast from a primitive land? Or a creature that's come to be called Bigfoot or Sasquatch?
Well, this is a very exciting find for the DEI team because we have stumbled across a creature that has both werewolf and Sasquatch tendencies. I like the fact that these two things are combined, which makes this a creature unique to Dickson County. Its Sasquatch capabilities are the fact that it seems to think very clearly. It seems to plot what it wants to do. And it seems to have a motivation. Its werewolf tendencies are the fact that it is strictly nocturnal and it is carnivorous. It's a flesh eater, and it seems to be driven by its appetites. So those two things put together make this definitely a creature unique to this area and bears further investigation.
Well, people got together and decided something had to be done. And they got a group of men together, and they came out with rifles, and they came out with a goat as bait. And they found a trail, and they found a clearing in this trail. It was obvious something had been feeding in this clearing, some kind of carnivorous creature. They decided to set up there and see if they could kill it. They tied the goat in the center of the clearing, and they set up stations around this clearing with interlocking fields of fire. And after about 4 hours, they could hear something coming down the trail. It was full moon, but they couldn't see real good. They could see something walking upright, something quite large. It headed for the goat, and the goat goes nuts. And when the leader thinks it's about in the center of the clearing, he yells, "Ah!" He said, "Turn your lanterns up." They turned their lanterns up. The creature is gone. The goat is gone. And one lantern didn't come up. Well, they went across the clearing to check on these two guys, and they're both dead.
It was another deadly chapter in the frightening legend of Werewolf Springs. But as Sam Brown tells us, even stranger things were about to happen.
After this episode, people were very concerned. People began to move out. You find a lot of abandoned farms around here. They had community meetings, and they knew they had to do something. Somebody suggested calling in a professional hunter. And they did. They called in a fellow that had experience with big game, and he was a proud sort of fella, and he wasn't scared of anything he said. And they described what had happened and what they thought it was, and he said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is you want it killed, I'll kill it." And they paid him, and he went out and he set up in a cabin. He set up there. He stayed the first night, nothing happened. Stayed the second night, nothing happened. The third night, he had stayed most of the night, and he heard something outside the cabin. It was a full moon again. And he looked out the front window of the cabin, and he could see something again moving just beyond the shadows of where his light went, which was fine with him. He had planned for this. And he took his rifle, which was an extremely large rifle, about as big as you could hand fire at the time. He sighted out the window of the cabin, and he shot at it. Well, it growled, it screamed real loud, but it didn't fall down. And it ran at the cabin, and it ran to the door and began to beat on the door and shake on the door and try to get in. Well, he had planned for this. He crawled up in the rafters of the cabin. He still had his rifle, he had a pistol. It didn't take the creature long, it broke in. It looked around, spied him up in the rafters, and began to try to claw the rafters down and claw the support beams down to get to him. And he did exactly what he'd planned to do. He aimed his rifle down, and he fired at the thing. It would growl, it would stagger back a little bit like this, and then it would start trying to get to him again. And he used all of his rifle ammo firing at this thing, and it would scream, but it wouldn't fall. Well, he threw his rifle aside and he picked up his pistol. He had 6 shots in his pistol, and he fired 4 of them, again having very little effect. And he had 2 bullets left, and he said he had determined that if he fell out of the rafters, that he would stand up and he would fire 1 shot into this thing's face. And he said, if that doesn't drop him, the last bullet's for me. I'll die by my own hand rather than let that thing kill me. And about that time, the sun began to come up, and apparently this thing doesn't like light, and it ran off, and he lived to tell his story. But you've never seen a more scared man in your life. He gave the money back, and he left. He wanted no part of this thing anymore.
While supernatural stories from the past deserve serious consideration, the DEI team gets involved when events bring these stories into the present. And with the story told by Dickson County resident Buddy Tidwell, the legend of Werewolf Springs was brought closer to our own time.
My friends and I had come out to this field. We'd been out here many times. We'd heard about the sightings. People had seen this unusual thing at quite a distance, and we'd been out in this field to look for it, and we knew that there were 12 cows that normally were in this field. Well, this particular night it was dark. At periods of time the clouds would be over the full moon, and other periods of time you could see well. And we came in this field, came down the hill toward those trees right there, and we counted, as we walked down, 12 sets of eyes, green eyes belonging to the cows, and then we shined our flashlight over there and saw a 13th set of eyes, and those eyes were red. And as we walked toward that 13th set of eyes, the clouds came out from over the moon, and we could see the thing crouched down near those trees. And it yelled from the lowest guttural yell to the highest pitched blood-curdling scream you can imagine. And of course the hair on our body just stood up, and we ran back up toward the vehicle up the hill there, and we shined the flashlights. As we got about halfway there, we shined back looking to see if the thing was following us, and we couldn't see it. And all of a sudden off to our left at those cedar trees there, we saw the thing. The moon came out again, and the thing yelled and walked between those two largest cedar trees, and then it began to come toward us in such a way that we thought it was going to wind up between us and the car. So we took off running, and you could feel the thing as its feet hit the ground behind you. It was enormous. Its arms were as big as my legs, and it was totally covered with hair from top to bottom. We went over the gate and got to the car and opened the car doors and turned around to look to see the thing at the gate. It yelled again and crashed the top of the gate with its huge arm, and then it came over the gate toward us, and we took off. Well, the next day we came back in the daylight, and we saw the evidence there at the gate where the thing had smashed the gate. That big steel channel gate had a dip in it where it had hit it with its arm, and we never saw the creature again.
I'm intrigued by the timelessness of this creature. I like the fact that it exists throughout Dickson's history. That to me is a hallmark of paranormal activity, because every sighting that's been recorded is of one single creature. So that tells me that this thing knows this area, is comfortable with this area, and that this is its territory, as if it's protecting its territory. We also have to bear in mind that even though it is indeed interesting, it is still extremely dangerous. It is bloodthirsty, it is seemingly indestructible, and it is definitely dangerously unpredictable.
I personally don't believe there's a werewolf in the area, but when the train goes through Burns and blows its whistle, you can hear some sort of animal howling. What that is, I don't know, but it is rather unusual.
Did these things really happen? Well, you hear the stories enough, they probably did. Is the thing still here? I don't know. It's really not for me to say, but I'd like to find out. If your team could help us, it'd be good.
It was a request the DEI team could not refuse. The DEI team quickly took action. The next full moon was only a few nights away, and if we were dealing with a werewolf, that was the most likely time for it to strike. So we set up a surveillance perimeter in an isolated area of the park.
Okay, over here we're putting up our special microphones. They're very sensitive. They'll pick up as much as a pin drops anywhere in this area. And over here we have our new lipstick camera. It's specially equipped with night vision and motion sensitive cells.
What we're doing now is spreading some animal blood around the perimeter of the van around this area. We're going to trail it north, south, east, and west, so whatever follows the blood will come up here to this area. Of course, we may get a lot of nocturnal animals coming around sniffing and smelling the blood, but the thing is we're after bigger game. But this stuff's just the appetizer. The main course, of course, is right over there.
In the immediate area of the van, we placed several strips of raw meat. These were securely bound to the tree so they could not easily be pulled away. A special night vision camera was set up nearby. It's now 9:13 p.m. It's completely dark and a full moon is rising. As we've been told, strange howls are often heard as the 1015 train leaves the station and passes through Burns, Tennessee. In order to stay out of sight, the DEI investigative team will stay here in the van. We'll remain here, wait till the train comes through, and then see what happens. It's now 10:15 p.m. If the train left the station on time, then any second now we should hear the whistle and some strange noises that have been described.
Oh, got it, listen.
It's now almost midnight. So far, since the whistle and the sounds, the howls that we heard, there's been little to concern us. We did have a couple of minor readings on the audio equipment, but we determined that those were probably just small rodents.
Whoa, wait, Nathan, wait a minute.
What do you got?
Got a hit on the EFM, got a big one. Went up to a 15, Don't see that often.
15, okay.
Yeah.
This could be something.
It
Make
feels
sure
real.
you're recording. Look
Feels
at
real.
that, look at that.
It went up, it fluctuated.
All right, keep
up and down real fast,
All right.
real fast.
Everybody sharpen up, this
Just
could be
had
it.
a hit, like something passed through the field.
Okay. What you got now?
It just dropped back down to -1. I mean, as quickly as it went up, boom, up and down.
Well, you hit something out there,
Yeah,
maybe.
something happened.
Something big.
All right, everything looks good here. Yep. You know, everything checks out down here. I don't know what's... Whoa. Whoa. Huh. Oh, well. Yeah, I'll tell you what, once you head on back to the van, I'll finish up here. I think it's okay. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Just tell them what's happening. Head on back. I'll be back.
Thanks, Roland.
It's now 2:41 a.m. It's been almost 3 hours since we've had any kind of activity, audio or video. We're just trying to decide how to proceed.
Hey, everything checks out. It's fine.
The bait's still there?
Everything's there. Not touched.
Well, I say we call it a night.
Guys, we may just have to try some random nights. You know?
I'm all for that. You got my vote.
Okay, guys, let's just give it a little bit more time. We never know what we could come on to tonight.
Well, whoa, did you hear that?
What was that?
What was that? Got some weird readings here.
You got something?
You know,
You got anything on the EFM?
I'm not getting much of anything at all. I mean, just very minor or nothing.
Dex, go check it out.
Okay.
Wait. No, wait, Dex, don't do that.
What do you got?
I got something now.
Get in here.
Yeah, get in here. It just hit, just like it did a little while ago. Just hit, boom, all of a sudden.
I'm not seeing anything on the camera, guys.
What are you reading right now?
I don't know what you're seeing or not seeing, but I'm telling you, I'm getting something here. I got a 12 right now.
A 12 right now?
Yeah, and it just jumped up to a 15 like it did a few hours ago. It jumped up. It's
15.
at 17 now. It's at
17.
17 now. It's stronger and the pulses are coming faster. Stronger and the pulses are coming faster. 20. It's on the 20. It's on the 20. And it's off the scale. Oh gosh.
Everybody okay? Jake, you all right?
Yeah.
Jake?
What was that?
Check your EFM. What do we got now?
Yeah, it's
Still close. What do we got?
Still up there. It's still up there. It's too much. It's too much. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, we're right.
What was that?
Get some light going here.
I don't think so.
Dex, are you all right?
Everything's down, man. All the equipment.
Jake.
Jake!
Can we get power back?
And I've got nothing.
Anybody see anything?
No. That's what's scary.
All right, everybody just
I don't see anything.
just stay cool. Let's just wait it out.
I'd say we don't wait it out. I say we crank this thing up and get out of here.
Stay cool, Jake.
We can't just drag the equipment off.
We decided to stay in the van until sunrise. No other attacks occurred that evening. The following day, we surveyed the area. The van had some heavy dents on its sides. Our equipment, for the most part, had been knocked down and some of it destroyed. As for the bait, it was gone, torn from the tree which itself was damaged.
That's a heck of a track.
Yeah, you can see where he had his hand on that branch over there. What we encountered at Werewolf Springs that night was more than just a legend. It attacked with the fierceness and hunger of an animal, but with a superhuman cunning that somehow managed to elude visual recording from our surveillance equipment. If we've proved anything, it's that something was, and still is, out there. I'm Dr. Nathan Swain of Dark Encounters Investigated. Remember, in the world of the paranormal and supernatural, knowledge is your best weapon. Stay informed.